And right there on the screen, it says, "You are live." And I'm live with you. Here we go. This is the pre show. And we're going to give everybody a chance to get on. I'm Jay Skinner, and this is the Buyers and Sellers Show. Wow, what are we going to talk about? Today, it's a good one. Customer management, the missing link in some companies. And it's understandable, it really is. And the cool thing is you get on, you can listen anonymously if you're so inclined. Oh, yeah. Wow. Well, I'm going to Kansas City. Kansas City, here I come. Well, I'm going to Kansas City. Kansas City, here I come. Oh. They got some crazy little women there. I'm gonna get me one. Oh. Well, I might take a plane or I might take a train. But if I have to walk, I'm going just the same. I'm going to Kansas City. I'm going to Kansas City. Here I come. I'll be standing on the corner, 12th Street and Vine. And we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Buyers and Sellers Show. I'm Jay Skinner, and I just can't tell you how happy I am to have you here this morning. Already people are getting on, and this is an interesting topic for sure. And jumping right in here, let's see right there. Someone says, "Hey, glorious Sugar Daddy, there you are. Glad you like it." And someone here says, "Hot, good. Thanks for coming by." Wow, I got a lot of people jumping on here and saying hi. Shows there. Oh, there you go. And there we go. Look at my friends from Twitch are jumping on here saying hello. Well, how fun is that? And I just hope you'll have a great time today watching this show. We're up and down in 30 minutes pretty much. And hello, Taylor Gable. Good to see you. Good morning. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. You are so, everybody should know Taylor Gable. Check this out. I'm going to put her name back up there. And she's an online phenomena. She does multiple things. She's also an expert in the material handling industry, and you ought to get to know her. So good, Taylor. Thanks for coming by. This is great. So anyway, I want to just say thank you, everybody, for coming on board and saying hi. This is great. So what we're talking about today, and we got some other people that come into the stream that it's like, oh my gosh, these people are getting rude. And when they do, I just don't show them. And I guess that's part of being online. But Taylor Gable, thank you for coming. And all the rest of you that are jumping on there and enjoying the show. This is the Buyers and Sellers Show. And we're on every Friday morning at 10:35 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Different topics each week, and your participation makes it the best. And there's a couple of rules that I've got here that they're kind of like life rules and ways to live and things to do. And one is, do unto your vendors as you want your customers to do unto you. I call that the silver rule. Do unto your vendors as you want your customers to do unto you. And the topic today is going to be very much about something like that. And the other rule that I want you to know and think about is do for yourself what you're asking other people to pay you to do for them. So practice what you preach and take a look at your own personal business life. And are you consistent And do you have the things that you're helping other people get and they're paying you to do? So I want to say say hi. Thanks for coming again. And look, we just got tons of people coming on board and watching the show. But what was the topic today? Customer management. It's a missing link in some companies. And I wanted to make this point right here is that customer experience, which that's what goes to my mind when I say customer management, because I kind of thought, well, that's like customer management. We don't want to manage people like that. And it's euphemistic. But the fact is that you need to manage yourself, manage what you do. And so I was calling it customer management to really talk about that whole customer experience and how you treat them and what you do and call it self-management too, because customer experience is just a little bit too light for this topic and what we're trying to get into. And one of the things that you need to know is that the problem, and you've experienced it, unfortunately, we all have one way or another. It's this revolving door. How about that? You've got customers coming in, customers going out. If it's a revolving door, you're always needing to get some new customers, and you're in that kind of a situation. And that's a problem because you want to keep the customers you have. It's way easier to build your business with existing customers and then bring in new and keep them all than it is to have this revolving door where you're constantly having to get new ones because old ones are going out. And in some cases, some companies don't even know that's happening. So, root cause, many people are excellent at making and doing what they sell, making and doing their products, but they don't have the technical or psychological training and experience to understand how to manage the customer or the customer experience. And we're going to get into that in depth here. And there's much more to it, but this will just open up some thoughts. And I do want you to comment and ask questions as we go along here. Really appreciate your custom and your customer involvement here. So let's go with it. And it says, what to do. What do you do about this? How do you get great at the customer side of this? You're great at making your widgets. You're great at whatever it is you've designed and developed and built your company on. But when it comes to really getting the customers and keeping the customers, that's a little more difficult. So how do we do this? Well, I want you to begin with, and we're back to self-management, is know how you're wired, what your strengths are as it relates to dealing with people. And I'm going to show you this because I don't want you to join the CAP Club. I learned about the CAP Club years ago. I was at a trade show I think it was in Costa Rica for the corrugated industry, and I was sitting with a guy who had become a dear friend over the years. And he owned a company, and it was a big deal. I mean, he was quite a big deal of his company and lots of money and lots of things. And he was really good at what he made, and he was able to really expand this thing. But he smiled and laughed, and he knew himself. He said, "Jay, I'm a member of the CAP Club. I'm in the CAP program. A lot of business owners are." I said, "Well, what's that?" Customer avoidance program. At least he knew himself, and he knew he didn't have a lot of business in front of the customers, and that's good. But what I want you to think about is having the behavioral flexibility and break through your limitations or get a sidekick to do your dirty work. Someone's got to do it, and that's with the relationship with your customers. I'm going to show you something here that may help you understand what's going on because it's so valuable. We've talked about this before, and you can go back to some previous shows. But take a look at this quadrant. And at the top, you can see that we have highly responsive individuals, and that at the top, they're expressive. and they're thoughtful, and they're, yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean people everywhere are not thoughtful, but the people that are high on this quadrant are both amiable, which is friendly, and expressive. And people that are low on this are less responsive, and they're more quiet, and they're not as, I mean, the people on the top are the ones that are going to give you a hug, you know. So then the people that are all the way far to the right are highly assertive. They're going to tell you about it. They're going to have those relationships. They're going to shake hands and pass out cards. And in the case of the driver that you see in the lower right-hand corner, they're going to be able to give orders. And you know, drivers, a lot of times you got to be a driver in order to run a company. And guys understood that, and ladies understand that even if they're not naturally a driver, they have to be able to go there in order to keep some things together that need to be kept together. The people on the lower left side that says analytical, whether those people are less interested in dealing with other people, they're not very assertive, and they're not very emotional or responsive. Well, if you happen to be in this low responsiveness area, or you're the driver that's lower in responsiveness, so that's also relational. And when it comes to having difficult conversations with people, sometimes you might not want to do that. But although the drivers will do it, it's just that it'll be a very rough way. If you go up here to people on the left that are not assertive at all, that would be the amiable and the analytics. You're looking at this, you're saying, where are you? Think about this. You don't want to have those conversations. You want to be in the CAP club. You certainly don't want to have difficult conversations, if you know what I mean. Okay. Now here's another illustration of the same quadrant, but it'll help you understand. Maybe you can see from the pictures what I'm talking about. See that? The amiable or friendly upper left-hand corner, the expressive, the analytic, and the driver. Well, some of these are natural when it comes to taking care of customers and managing the customer relationship and having those difficult conversations that need to be had. And others, it's just not natural. So what I'm asking you to do is have behavioral flexibility and break through your natural inclination to not want to talk to people or not deal with difficult topics. Or like my friend did, who was in the CAP program, he had people working for him that were good at that, and he just stayed out of the way. Although it made it difficult at times when someone wanted to talk to the owner, he would come out and he'd be friendly and nice as best as he could and everything, but boy, was he uncomfortable. So you got to deal with it one way or another. And another part of this customer management is being honest. You got to be honest to a fault. You stay nice and sincere, but you want to be direct versus indirect. And when I was showing you those pictures and those personality styles on that grid, some people are more direct and assertive, so you remember on the right side, and then others are indirect, not assertive. And if you're naturally that friendly person, that analytical individual that's not, the life of the party exactly, okay, you're going to have trouble when it comes to this customer management, because customers, well, it's all about trust. And you develop the trust through communication. And they must trust you to keep them from going off a cliff. In your relationship, whatever it is you do, what service or product that you deliver, they're counting on you. And they're counting on you to deliver on time, be honest and trustworthy. Now, let's go back, stop right there, and go back real quickly to this rule. The silver rule: do unto your vendors as you want your customers to do unto you. Do unto your vendors as you want your customers to do unto you. Okay. See how this starts to work? That what you practice is going to come to you. So are you treating your vendors really the way you would like to be treated in these situations? Do you have these trusting relationships we're talking about? It's all about trust. And they need to count on you to even have difficult conversations. Oh, looks like we got some more comments. Let's see what they're doing. And right there saying, Taylor Gable saying, I love good communication. Yes, I do too. And Taylor, I know you, and I've watched some of your shows that you've been online too, and we've talked. And Taylor is an outgoing individual that also has that technical side too. And that was really interesting when as I got to know her. And you might be someone we should get on the show sometime, Taylor, because you could talk about some things and help expand on these areas. So we'll think about that. So remember that, and everybody find her on LinkedIn. That would be great. So as we move forward into this, let me take you to something that will really help. Never let the fear of losing a customer keep you from telling them the truth. Now, that quote was from my friend Dwayne Schonenberger. He's the founder of a company called Safety Management Service Incorporated. I mean, and they've really done awesome helping businesses, manufacturing companies, and others take care of their safety requirements, and they coach and they teach and they advise and they stand up for their customers. And he's built this beautiful business that takes care of his customers, and he loves his customers. They love him and they love his organization. He's built an organization. And so if you want to look up Safety MSI, this is a great company. But I want you to remember what he said here. Never let the fear of losing a customer keep you from telling them the truth. How many times have you gone into a relationship with a customer where you're a little bit of intimidated with them? And, a lot of those customers are those drivers I talked about. They're going to be tough. It's going to be tough. And you like the business. And so your inclination sometimes is not to give them the hard truth, but they need to hear it. They're trusting and counting on you to keep them from going off that cliff. And so be honest both ways to keep credibility and maintain trust. And you have to encourage them to be that way. See, the important thing is the customer is not always right, but they're always the most important part of your relationship. When you're the vendor, when you're providing a product or service, the customer is the most important part of that relationship from your perspective. Now, I always like to say, and I think it's very altruistic, that when we're dealing with people, that if we put others first regularly, then that's the best way anyway. And at the same time, you're hoping that they'll do the same thing back to you, but you're not in control of that. You are just in control of what you do, and you try to build this relationship. And when you do, great things happen and trust is built. Now, in this sort of a relationship, there's room to make mistakes without fear of reprisal and having adult to adult communication. And what I mean is, if you are subservient and quiet with your customers and they're the boss and you're the little person, like a child, almost like a parent-child relationship, that's not healthy. It's not healthy anywhere. What you want is that adult to adult communication where there's mutual respect. And that also allows for something that ought to be in your mission statement. One of these lines is allow your employees and the people that you work with to make mistakes without fear of reprisal. And in your business relationship, this is so important. Now, here's an example. I like to use this. Why do I use this one? Well, excuse me. Because I've been in this position. How many times have you been late or you made a promise or a commitment and then all of a sudden you realize this is not going to happen and your customer is counting on it? Okay, we're managing our customers. Well, isn't this interesting that customer management is more about managing yourself than them? Think about that. Customer experience is more about managing yourself than really them. But you need to be aware of what their perception of you is so that you can properly manage it, the experience, and yourself and what you put out there, and do it in a trustworthy, honest, and forthright way. So here we go. I'm going to take you through a good phone call. Mr. Customer, I know you've been in the same position with your customers too. So, say I'm on the phone. So I just need you to know and be prepared that the shipment you're expecting from us that was going to go out in a couple of weeks is going to be 10 days late. I understand. Now, you're making this call weeks in advance, not the same day that it's supposed to go out. It's going to be 10 days. I want to give you a chance to adjust your planning as well. This will also give you a chance to contact your customers and make adjustments. I apologize, but we were QCing the parts, and I think you always owe them some sort of an explanation of why or what happened. And we were simply not satisfied with them, that they did not meet our quality specifications. So we put them back in to be made again and reworked, whatever is appropriate, most important, so that they would meet your specifications and ours, which are high specifications. And I hope this gives you enough time to adjust things going forward with your customers, because your customer also has customers, and expectations. So you've done this well in advance. There's really no good reason you can't do it in advance, because with the planning systems that we have these days, or highly suspect there's going to be a problem weeks in advance. And you take a look at it and you begin to put things in action to try to expedite and correct what looks like a problem. But at the same time, you make this phone call and you teamwork, and you'll bring your customer into the process and the problem solving and the situation with you well in advance, so they can begin to prepare, because they were expecting you to deliver. And now, well, unexpected things happened. But here's what you're doing about it. Here's what you've corrected the situation. You just didn't call them with a big problem. You call them with a problem and what your solution is and what it's going to result in. And you have the conversation. And what do you think they're going to say? What do you think they're going to say? Of course, they're going to say great things. And it's going to really, it's going to be wonderful for your relationship. But you understand that they're not going to be satisfied because they want it early, satisfied, but they'll be loyal because they trust you to look after them. And, that's when there are problems. Now, how hard is that conversation? It's very difficult. I mean, it's like akin to running towards the fire. And there's not a lot of people that are into running towards the fire. It's like, that's the thing. You not only want satisfied customers, but you want loyal customers that understand that even when things go wrong, you're going to be there, and that keeps them coming back. And that will help them feel comfortable giving referrals, because I will tell you, I have referred people to suppliers and say, you want to deal with XYZ company. Now, not only because their products are awesome, but because when there's a problem, they will call you as soon as they figure it out. And could be days and weeks in advance, which is even better, so that I have a chance to plan for my production as well. Because I was counting on them, but when things fell apart and didn't go well, they called me up, said, it's not happening. Here's why. And here's what we're doing to solve the problem. Can you do that? Well, yes, you can. And that's why you're watching today, to learn about one of the important things with customer management is managing yourself, how you behave, what you do, how you react to situations, and most of all, plan ahead. And when you discover you got a problem, go ahead and bring your customers into the conversation. They've had problems like that before too. They totally get it. What they don't get is if you wait till the day that this is going to ship and then you tell them, that's a bad day. Everyone, so much appreciate you coming and listening. This has been a great show. We've had tons of people on board, good people, good comments, and I want to say thank you. Thank you for coming because I can't do it without you. You're what makes this show, and you coming back, sharing, talk to people. I'm Jay. I'm also the CEO extender. I work with business owners to get things done. And I also am the plasticpalletguy.com. And I also, Ace is the place with the helpful hardware folks. And you're going to find out more about that later. Have a great day. See you next week. Same time, same channel. Got you thinking. Bye now. See you next week. Thanks for coming.